being an idol and spending basically every waking moment with your members sounds like the perfect recipe for creating an unbreakable family bond, but the reality is that being stuck in each other's faces 24/7 can also turn even the smallest annoyances into full-blown feuds that fans never see coming. While most of the time these clashes stay behind closed doors and get resolved with a quick apology or some space, there have been moments where the tension has gotten so thick that idols wanted to disband. It's no secret to most K-pop fans that their favorite idols have definitely had their fair share of drama with each other behind the scenes, even if the companies try their best to keep it all under wraps. Take Stray Kids, for example, who've been surprisingly open about all the arguments they used to have, and honestly, most of their stories are absolutely hilarious when you hear them tell them now. It's basically become common knowledge among fans that Han was picking fights with everyone during their trainee days, like he was going through some kind of phase where he just couldn't get along with anybody. But the most iconic beef of all time has to be the argument between Han and Hyunjin that's still talked about to this day, where things got so heated that Han straight up told Hyunjin, "You should dance better," and Hyunjin clapped back with, "And you should rap better." It's the kind of petty trainee drama that sounds like something out of a bad K-drama, but the fact that they can laugh about it now shows just how much they've grown since then. But if we're talking about group arguments that actually made it onto camera and had fans absolutely shocked, nothing beats that one Bon Voyage episode where BTS Jimin and V had a full-on argument that wasn't only caught on film, but also got subtitled for the whole world to see. It feels like every fan has somehow collectively decided to forget this ever happened, but those who remember know there was some uncomfortable tension in the air. The whole thing started during some kind of game where whoever lost had to wash the dishes after dinner, and since there were 7 of them, they decided the loser would pick a member to help them out so no one person got stuck doing everything alone. V and Jungkook ended up losing, and while Jungkook went straight to start washing the dishes like he was supposed to, V decided he'd rather go do his skincare routine first. Jimin saw what was happening and was absolutely not having it, calling V out by saying that he pretends to be close friends with Jungkook but then wants him to do everything by himself. The whole thing was extremely awkward because you could tell Jimin was genuinely annoyed, even though he tried to laugh it off afterwards. Still, the two are known to be especially close, which only shows that even the best of friends can clash from time to time. Although most of these fights are never that serious and they mostly consist of silly problems, sometimes things get a bit more heated. Take FTISLAND, for example, where the tension between certain members was so bad that it's basically become a running joke at this point. When the band stopped by Jaejung's show J-Friends, Jaejin couldn't even hide how absolutely exhausted he was dealing with Minhwan and Lee Honki's never-ending arguments, and he flat out admitted that he was completely sick of them and their constant bickering. But honestly, you can't really blame him when you hear some of the stories about just how intense their fights can get. Jaejin shared this one incident that got so bad that even their staff members were genuinely worried about what was going down. It all happened when Jaejin had left to attend a party for a musical he was working on, probably thinking he could finally get some peace and quiet away from his bandmates for a few hours. But then his phone rang and it was their staff basically crying for help because Minhwan and Honki were going at it so hard that no one knew what to do. The staff told him that they thought only he could settle their argument, which honestly sounds like being the mom friend in the group taken to a whole other level. In the end, Jaejin had to cut his night short and rush back to deal with his bandmates. By the time he actually got there, the fight had technically ended already, but you could still feel the tension hanging in the air. The craziest part is that FTISLAND has been together for nearly 20 years if you count their trainee days, which means Jaejin has been putting up with Honki and Minhwan's drama for basically 2 decades at this point. Unfortunately, not every idol group conflict stays at a manageable level, as sometimes things escalate so far beyond normal disagreements that they become genuinely destructive to everyone involved. And while K-pop fans have definitely seen their fair share of serious group drama and controversies over the years, nothing in recent times has been quite as shocking as what went down with WOOAH's Lucy. She became the center of a massive controversy after some alleged leaked messages started circulating online, and honestly, this whole situation made those Stray Kids trainee arguments look like a joke. The chaos started when an account on social media shared a post that included not just the alleged messages from Lucy, but also a video that supposedly showed her vaping. The video of her vaping was the least shocking part of everything that came out because the content of those alleged messages was absolutely brutal and unlike anything most K-pop fans have ever seen from an active idol. In the leaked conversations, Lucy allegedly made it clear that she was completely done being an idol and wanted nothing to do with the group anymore. She reportedly said that she actively wanted the group to disband, admitting that there was no affection left and that she didn't even like the fans. The alleged messages showed her basically saying that she saw no reason to put in any effort since she had zero desire to continue, and she made it sound like she couldn't care less about what the fans wanted from her. But things got even messier when more alleged messages surfaced where Lucy supposedly supposedly threw her own group members completely under the bus. She reportedly spoke negatively about specific group mates, actually naming Wooyeon and Sora directly, which is the kind of information that usually stays locked away in private conversations forever. According to the leaked messages, Lucy suggested that the members with the best public image were actually the most problematic behind the scenes, basically calling out her teammates for allegedly causing problems in the worst possible way. The messages painted a picture of someone who felt completely trapped and miserable, with Lucy reportedly saying that she didn't know how she was supposed to keep living in a dorm with her members and that she genuinely wanted the group to disband. She claimed that none of the other members wanted to keep the group going either, suggesting that everyone was just pretending for the cameras while secretly hoping it would all end. The whole situation made it seem like Lucy felt like her members were actively working against her, and she described her living situation as absolutely terrible, saying that it had been a nightmare despite the fact that she'd been warned she'd have a tough year. These leaks were the kind of behind-the-scenes drama that fans never expected to see, especially not laid out in such detail, completely shattering the illusion that WOOAH is just another happy idol group dealing with normal growing pains. The reactions fans had to Lucy's alleged messages were extremely mixed. Surprisingly, a huge part of the fandom actually ended up feeling genuinely sorry for her once they started thinking about the bigger picture. Fans pointed out they could understand Lucy's frustration and that most of the blame should probably go to their agency, HM Entertainment, for being what many are calling a complete disaster of a company. When you really think about it, Lucy has been stuck in this industry for an absolutely insane amount of time, with some fans realizing that she's been in the spotlight for around 17 years at this point, which means she basically never had the chance to just be a normal kid and figure out who she was outside of being an idol. What really got to netizens was recognizing that this whole mess just sounds like the same tragic story that plays out with so many mismanaged groups from smaller companies. WOOAH has been around for years now, constantly going on random hiatuses with no explanation, dealing with inconsistent comebacks, and having all these near brushes with success that never quite turn into the breakthrough they deserve. It's the kind of situation that would drive anyone to their breaking point, and when you add in the fact that they're probably not making the money they should be and are stuck in terrible contracts, it's honestly not that shocking that cracks are starting to show. Keeping this in mind, many fans believe Lucy isn't actually the bad guy in this situation, and that her comments about not getting along with her members or wanting the group to disband are just the natural results of years of built-up frustration and disappointment. The whole situation becomes way less surprising when you remember what Song-Yi Park revealed after she left WOOAH right after their debut, and her testimony basically painted a picture of a company that treats their idols like prisoners rather than artists. According to Song-Yi, the members were living completely trapped for 12 hours a day, constantly singing, dancing, and rapping while being monitored. The company allegedly forced them to delete all their social media accounts and severely limited their contact with friends and family, which is already a massive red flag about how controlling they were. But it gets even worse when you hear about how live-in managers were literally following their every single move from the moment they woke up until they went to sleep, all while cramming them into tiny, overcrowded dorms that probably felt more like jail cells than homes. The physical and mental torment didn't stop there, because ahead of their debut, the company put Song-Yi on a strict diet and ordered her to lose around 10 pounds while simultaneously making the group practice until 4 in the morning every single night. Song-Yi talked about how the whole experience made her start losing her sense of identity. While some fans tried to show understanding for what Lucy might be going through, others were absolutely not having it, especially when it came to how she allegedly talked about both her group members and the fans who've been supporting them. One fan perfectly summed up the general sentiment by saying they love WOOAH and totally get that Lucy might be stressed because their agency has serious problems, but that she had absolutely no right to be this rude toward the other members and the fans who just want to support the group they genuinely care about. At the end of the day, many netizens made sure to emphasize that we still don't actually know if these leaked messages are even real in the first place, since there's been no official confirmation. But even if the messages are legitimate, people pointed out that these were supposed to be private, confidential conversations that were never meant to see the light of day, which means someone Lucy trusted enough to confide in betrayed her. Real or fake, it's clear the situation highlights that the industry can be pretty brutal, and sometimes what starts as simple member drama or petty disagreements can spiral completely out of control and turn into a career-destroying scandal that leaves everyone wondering the perfect idol group image was just an illusion all along.